I've lived in Las Vegas since 1998, and I've been betting the NBA playoffs every year since I've been out here. My first NBA playoffs in Vegas, the Spurs swept the Knicks 4-0 in the finals. That's how old I am and how long I've been living in this godforsaken town. That being said, I got 5 tips, my top 5 tips for you on how to bet and beat the NBA playoffs. These are not tips that I read somewhere. These are not tips that I thought about somewhere. This is stuff that has actually worked for me over the last 28 years betting basketball postseasons here in Sin City. Teddy covers wagertalk.com. And let's start with this. We look to bet unders in the postseason when it comes to these totals. And there's particular times I'm looking to bet unders. The very first games of the first round, we're absolutely looking to bet unders. Why? We have all these regular season games where nobody's playing any defense. And as soon as the playoffs start, game 1, game 2, bang, we see the sharp money come for the unders and we see playoff intensity defense. So game 1, first round, game 2, first rounds, not a lot of overs I'm going to play. I'm looking to play unders in those spots. In addition, as the series progresses, when you get particularly to games 5, game 6, game 7, all right, the more competitive series, by the time you get to game 5 of a series, Team A knows everything Team B wants to do. Team B knows everything Team A wants to do. And, there's no offensive surprises. There's no matchup changes you're going to make. Everybody gets fatigued. Everybody gets banged up. The pace slows down. So in addition to betting unders in game 1s, I like to play unders in games 5, 6, and of course game 7s. You have a long and proven track record of staying under the total. So the number one tip I'm going to give you for NBA playoffs, and it starts this weekend when it comes to these game 1s, unders in game 1s, unders in games 5, 6, and 7. That's the way we look. Not every series, not every one of them, but in general, that's the way we're looking for postseason basketball, unders more than overs. The second thing I want to talk about, and this is so key, really, if you're watching analysis online, you're going to watching videos, other guys talking about it, reading stuff, you're going to hear something called the Zig-Zag Theory. And the Zig-Zag Theory was big when I first moved to Las Vegas, 1998-99 basketball season. Oh, the Zig-Zag, you got to bet the Zig-Zag Theory. And the concept is this. The team that wins one game in a playoff series, the next game, they let down a little bit. Their opponent's going to play like their hair's on fire. So zigzag-wise, the markets say you bet on the team that just lost their last game. And that was a profitable strategy in the NBA playoffs in the 90s. The 90s ended a long time ago. Believe me, my hair was brown back then. All right. A long time ago. And when you look at the modern era of NBA basketball, the zigzag has not been profitable, hasn't been close to being profitable, hasn't been profitable in the first round, second round, third round finals. The Zig-Zag Theory is dead. It's been dead, but people need content. People like the sound of it. Ooh, NBA, the Zig-Zag Theory. Let me make this very clear. Zigzag is dead. Don't forget it, especially in the less competitive series. All right. I get it. 2 teams are even and somebody punches. We expect somebody to punch back. First round series where, teams are going to be double-digit favorites in these games, and some of them, zigzag, in this bettor's opinion, and in the data, is pretty worthless. I would not use zigzag in any part of my handicap, including if you're trying to roll something up and smoke it before you make a handicapping choice. 3 more that I want to talk about when it comes to key things that I've learned over the years, my top 5 tips for betting the NBA postseason. But first, I want to ask you guys one simple favor. If you like this type of analysis, hit that like button. Really, that's all I ask. Thank you. We appreciate the comments. Tell us what you think below. I'll do my best to get in and respond to as many as I can, but we appreciate the comments very, very much. Like, comment, and of course, subscribe if you haven't done so. 250,000 subscribers on Wager Talk TV. I think we're a little bit short. We're approaching 250,000 subscribers on Wager Talk TV. We started with none. How did we get them? Because we're putting out good free content every single day. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about home courts. Because we just talked about zigzag and we talked about unders. I want to talk about home courts now because we talk about home court edge. Oh, they're returning home. Oh, they're going back home. The markets adjust significantly for the home court in NBA postseason, much more than it does in the regular season, and in this bettor's opinion, oftentimes much more than they should. In particular, home courts matter less as a series progresses. Better teams at home for game 1 and game 2, home court matters a little bit. Game 3, the returning team, you expect them to play with their hairs on fire if they're losing, as the team returns home. That's legit. Once you get to game 4 of an NBA playoff series, if you're adding a point for a home court, that's probably enough. Point and a half at the most. I wouldn't argue if you already put a 0 in there for home court advantage. Teams that played on their opponent's floor already. Teams know what their opponent wants to do already. And as you get deeper into series, again, games 4, 5, and 6 in particular, home courts don't matter a whole lot. I'd rather fade the home team than back them in most instances, especially if I'm catching points with a team that is live to win the ball game. So home court matters less as the series progresses. That's something, again, the database may not show you that exact formula. My experience says look to the road teams, games 4, 5, and 6 in general. This is a key factor, and we're going to call this point 4. The fourth tip of my top 5, and this one to me, it's meaningful. If a series is mispriced in game 1, it will be mispriced moving forward. So game 1, Team A is an 8-point favorite and the total's 227. And the game ends up being played at a breakneck pace and they fly over and it goes to 254. The adjustment between game 1 and game 2 for the total is not going to be enough. If it's mispriced in game 1, it'll be mispriced in game 2. And oftentimes in series, you can win 3, 4, 5 bets betting on the same concept. Whether it's over or under, whether it's this team's priced wrong, whether this team's not priced high enough or low enough. But the key is not saying let's overreact to game 1. Game 1, team won by 20. It's going to be a blowout the whole series. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the concept of, my number says these teams should be 4. There's only 4 points difference in the market saying there's 8 points difference between these two teams on a neutral. And those type of discrepancies, A, they happen, and B, when they happen, it makes it a one-way series. You're either betting on the undervalued team / betting on the over or under that you think is undervalued in that spot, or you're leaving those games alone. And those are some of my favorite series where, game 1 looks really wrong. Game 1 plays out like it's wrong. You already cashed one winner. You're like, that's the only side I'm looking at right now in this series, or that's the only total I'm looking at until the markets adjust appropriately. But if you see, again, game 1, these are the season-long numbers. They're pounded into shape by the sharp money. So when the game 1 is mispriced, it's going to be mispriced the whole way. Those, some of my favorite series to bet on, no doubt about it. Before I talk about the 5th and final of my top 5, and this one's number 1 when it comes to picking a champion, I do want to let you guys know what's going on right now at wagertalk.com. My name's Ted Savransky. They call me Teddy Covers. You visit my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Let's get direct link to my homepage. Visit wagertalk.com. And note, I'm plus just shy of 90 units in the NBA postseason over the last 4 years. We've hit at least 55% in each of the last 4 postseasons. We've been at least plus 10 units of profit in each of the last postseasons. I like this time of year. I expect to make money for myself. I expect to make money for my clients. wt.buzz /TC if you're interested in a playoff package. And we've got, honestly, whatever you're looking for. Don't buy a play, get a package. We got to buy 3 days, get 3 free. We have a all summer deal, gets you every play through the end of August, including the preseason football and week 1 of college. We got an NBA playoff package. Whatever floats your boat, check out the homepage, www.buzz/TC, or just visit wagertalk.com. This is the finale, guys, and this, in my opinion, is the single most important factor when handicapping the NBA postseason. I was with some friends last night. They asked me, Teddy, who's going to win the finals? And I said, whichever team stays healthy. That's it. Health matters more than any other factor in the postseason. We can sit here in April and go, oh, I know who's going to be healthy in June. You're full of shit. Nobody knows who's going to be healthy in June. OKC, if they're healthy, they can win it all. If Gilgeous-Alexander gets hurt, they won't. If Boston stays healthy, they can win it all. If someone gets hurt, they won't. If the Spurs stay healthy, they can win it all. If they're banged up, they won't. And Denver, and whoever else you want to throw, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Pistons. Health matters more than anything. And you can't predict health going into the postseason. What you can do is when teams start getting banged up, you bet against them. Look what happened to Indiana last year. Halliburton gets hurt. They were playing great. Their best player gets hurt. Boom. Bet against. Boston. Tatum gets hurt. Bet against. Boom. So this is what we do. We're going to react to the injuries. We can't anticipate the injuries, but we're absolutely going to react to the injuries, especially when it comes to series prices, future bets, etc. The team that comes out of the East, the team that comes out of the West, the team that cuts down the nets, that wins the title, will be a team that stays healthy, not the team that's riddled with injuries. And that's nothing we can predict before the start of the postseason, but it's something we can absolutely pay attention to each and every day over the next 2 months of the NBA playoffs. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really fun video. We appreciate the comments, the likes, the follows. Best of luck with all your bets. And be sure to check out my homepage. Again, wt.buzz/TC, or just visit wagertalk.com.